back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk yet again. It is Drago Bosnic. Drago, how you been? Long time no see.
Yeah, I was literally about to say the same thing. Long time no see, man.
We actually did a recording or two last night, yesterday, but one of them will come out before this and one probably after. We went for a flight, actually 2 flights, but we didn't count that as recordings because they're not talks. This is a talk. This is like serious comedy.
Yeah.
Where were you, Drago? What were you doing? Were you on a secret mission?
The better question is, where weren't I? I've been traveling quite a lot in September, partially for work, partially for pleasure, because just like 2 days ago, I was at a wedding in the southern part of Republika Srpska, which is a Serbian part of the extremely functional country called Bosnia and Herzegovina. Specifically the city of Trebinje, which is absolutely fantastic, and I would advise all people, not just Serbs, obviously, to visit the city, the town, if you want. It's not a big town, but it has an amazing history. It's people are nice, the food is amazing, so it's a really great place.
And when you went there, did you go via the border through how should I say, the Serbian part of Bosnia?
Although there is one part where you go through the Federation, which is called Gorazde, and people know about it, obviously. I mean, people who are familiar with the geography of the region. It's like a small Muslim exclave or enclave, if you want, surrounded by Republika Srpska. Essentially, you have to go through it because the highway, the main way, it's not really a highway, goes through that area.
Interesting. The intricacies of the Balkans. Exemplified by what you see on screen. You with an icon and me with this thing. Because it doesn't matter what religion you are. It just matters that you're on the right side fighting against evil. Eh? Drago, we used to call this the not so weekly update. And it's been so long since we last did it that you basically said that we should call it the monthly, not so monthly update of news. So yeah, we've got like a month of articles to get through. Drago's been busy, even though he's been away from keyboard. So we're gonna get into it. Shall we get into it, or should we get into some memes? I've got not so many memes. I've got many, what are they called? Infographics and stuff like that. Maybe we'll get into some other ones a little later. Here's a meme by Vozmezdje. I purposefully didn't send these to you beforehand to get your reaction live. Okay, now on a serious note.
Considering the history of her party, the meme is on point 100%. It is funny, but it's also true.
That is the best kind of funny. Oh yeah, this is a comedy show. Nothing we say has anything to do with reality. That's why it is the worst comedy show on YouTube. That joke just keeps evolving, right? Where is my little prompt? There we go. Subscribe. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, now let's get into the news. Is Serbia really sending 36 MiG-29s to Ukraine to get a discount on Rafales? We kind of covered this last time that we met up and that we were recording. Long answer or short answer?
Yeah, I could just say it's a short answer. We don't have 36 MiG-29s. Even if we wanted to, we couldn't send them. So.
Hold on. Let me turn the volume up a bit for you. I have a feeling that you're a little quieter than I am. The point is, I hate that when I watch YouTube videos and like you can't hear the guest and the microphone of the post is like 3 times louder. So yeah, Serbia really sending the MiGs? No, we're not. Also, we didn't get a discount. Also, the Rafales are probably not going to show up. Link somewhere on screen here. We discussed it last time. They're like, what kind of hoopla is that? How is this always on top?
I just want to point out one thing, because we had this episode with the pagers and Hezbollah. This is just my message to one of the guys who's actually important for getting the Rafales, who has been calling me an idiot for thinking that Rafales can actually be sabotaged. You know, he insists that this 9-ton airplane cannot be sabotaged, but a 100-gram pager can. So that's a really interesting way of thinking and very interesting logic. So my message to him is, yeah, go for it, man. Take as many Rafales as you can, because there's no way in hell they will be sabotaged, right?
No comment. That's all I have to say. Of course, technology can't be sabotaged, and
sure.
Yeah, no. Let's just not go into it. I don't even want to bring up the memes. Su-57 versus the F-16 Fighting Falcon. Ooh. How did the neo-Nazi junta really lose its U.S.-made F-16s? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've already talked about it once during one of the flights that you're going to promote later on. So the whole point is there are 3 versions of what happened, and 2 of them are not even worth mentioning. Actually 4, my mistake. One of the versions is that the Russians hit Starokonstantinov base. There's already like one report that they've hit and destroyed 4 or 5 jets recently, a few days ago. But this specifically, like the first one, when it went down, there was one version that says that it was a Russian missile, like air-to-ground missile, that destroyed it. But there's one version that's been reported by both Russian and Ukrainian and some Western media, and that's that the Su-57 actually used our R-97 hypersonic air-to-air missile to destroy this thing. And this hypersonic missile essentially can go up to Mach 8, which is around 9,000 to 9,500 kilometers per hour. It's quite fast, obviously.
Wait. You're saying that, time out. You're saying the Su-57 shot it down air-to-air with a hypersonic air-to-air missile?
Yeah, there's one version of the events that says that it actually fired over the Kherson Oblast, and that it hit at around 200 to 250 kilometers away from that area, and it destroyed, allegedly destroyed the first F-16, which kind of makes sense because at the time there was this massive drone and missile combined strike by the Russian VKS, or the Russian Aerospace Forces. So there were F-16s flying in that area trying to shoot down the drones and cruise missiles. So it's very possible that the Su-57 could have detected the F-16 and then just shot it down at long range, because it has the capability to do so. It's NO-36 Bielka radar. It's quite advanced. It has over 400 kilometers in range, in detection range. And the F-16, especially if it's packed with missiles, it's a very visible target, especially for newer radars, such as the one used by the Su-57. And of course, the R-97, the new missile, which is usually mistaken for the R-37M, which the Su-57 cannot really carry, even though everybody keeps saying, you know, it's shooting these missiles at Ukrainian jets. It's not true. It cannot carry them internally because the R-37M doesn't have folding fins, and the R-97 has, and it was made specifically, it was tailor-made for the Su-57. So that's the actual missile that the Russians are using on the Su-57 for long-range kills. So although they have one more, the R-87, which is like a heavily upgraded replacement for the regular R-77-1M. So essentially, you know, the Su-57 has like 3 or 4 options to destroy targets at extremely long ranges. And there was one Ukrainian analyst, so to speak, or military expert, if you want. His name is Mikhailo Pavlov, if you want. He essentially confirmed that the Su-57 shot down at least one F-16 so far. So I guess we have a lot of sources from all sides claiming this. So it's not exactly, like.
This sounds a lot like the F-117s during the NATO bombing of Yugoslavia, and the NATO daily reports of how many tanks they destroyed, and then how many more tanks than they even thought were there left Kosovo at the end. Yeah. I just want to take a little break here. Remind everybody, this channel is not eligible for monetization. I want to bring up this little preview. We're going to be flying this baby, the Su-57, probably in the next upload as you see this. And yeah, thanks to everybody who's bought me a coffee. And also thank you to the patrons. Ugladar. We flew there with the Soviet Russian bear. Check out the video. Drago, how do you feel about Ugladar?
Well, I mean, I think the picture says it all. It's a cauldron, and it's not going to end well for the guys in it.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. Hold on, let me find something here. Is this what I want? No, it is not. Let me see if I can scroll like this. Maybe. And then... okay, let's just do this. 1943. That we sentence 1.2 million Jews to die of hunger should be noted only marginally. Hans Frank, a Nazi governor of occupied Poland, diary entry. Smotrich in 2024. Might be justified and moral to cause 2 million Gazans to die of hunger. But world won't let us. Gosh darn it, the world won't let us. They're sure not stopping you so far. Like,
I mean, I think the biggest disappointment are the countries around surrounding Israel. Like, it's nearly 1 billion of them, and there's like 7 to 8 million Israelis, and they have no spine. I'll try to be polite as much as possible. They don't have the spine to react in any way. But then you have the Houthis who have been bombed for the last decade or so. And they, despite being bombed for a decade, despite, suffering through mass starvation and essentially genocide at the hands of the Saudis and the UAE and all these other countries that are trying to destroy the Houthis, they are reacting to what's happening.
Got some footage. We've got some footage of Hodeidah being hit by the Israelis. We'll play that a little bit later, maybe in this talk, maybe in the next one, because we do have a lot of things to get through. And I've got some random videos, and then we've got some memes, just because it's a comedy show. So yeah, yes, I agree with what you were saying. It is hilarious. New evidence linking Biden crime family to the neo-Nazi junta. New evidence? Do you want to tell us what this new evidence is? There's no Nazis. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there's only the fans of nuts in Ukraine, obviously. But all jokes aside, there's actually a court in Austria that was essentially there was this one Ukrainian businessman. Dmitro Firtash, that's his, or Dmitry Firtash, if you want, that's his real name. And he's being prosecuted, or persecuted, actually, not prosecuted. He's being persecuted by the U.S. government, which is trying to get him extradited back to the U.S., even though he's not a U.S. citizen, where he's going to be, where he's going to get a fair trial, because the U.S. DOJ never lies and never uses its justice system against political opponents or any kind of other opponents, geopolitical or whichever.
You mean like Assange, right?
Yeah, Assange, especially Assange. He's a great example of how good the functionality of the U.S. justice system is. And this guy he's now in Austria. So there's been a bunch of these hearings in the last 10 years in this Austrian court in Vienna. And they actually
yeah, most of them. It's a room full of whores that pretend to be a court or hort.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
It was a Freudian slip essentially, but it's not false in most cases. However, in the defense of this court, they've actually refused the Americans for like 7 or 8 times now in the last 10 years, and they are refusing to extradite Firtash because there's nothing. They don't have literally nothing on this guy. Can you imagine? Like they can't even invent anything because there's nothing. So he's actually one of the extremely rare number of Ukrainian oligarchs, as they're called, who actually got his money fair and square. So the whole point is the court invited a bunch of former Ukrainian government officials from 2020, 2013, and 14 during the Yanukovych years, and they discovered and gave a bunch of documents that actually show how the U.S. government launched the Maidan coup and how they essentially destroyed Ukraine. And now this is a big problem for the U.S. because this court has filed all the evidence as true or as valid. So the court essentially said, and also they literally wrote this in one of their conclusions, that the U.S. is a sham democracy, essentially. So there's a court somewhere out there, specifically in Austria, which is literally condemned the U.S. for its own democracy and freedom implementation of that system. So it's pretty interesting.
Number one, Russian propaganda. Number two, obviously they're occupied and have been infiltrated by Russians. And number three, didn't they just get like a pro-Russian and pro-Serb, pro-Kosovo, pro-territorial integrity prime minister or president or whatever they have?
Yeah. The Austrian Freedom Party, if I'm not mistaken, when it comes to the literal translation of FPO, I think. Yeah, Nazis, essentially, as they're called.
Right wing, far right wing.
Just one more thing I want to say about this topic. We can move on. There's this so-called NewsGuard agency, which let's say it gives you like grades based on how truthful
the fact checkers,
your information
the fact checkers.
Is. Yeah, the fact checkers, essentially. Yeah, that's what they are. Even though they don't want to say it, they've been trying to pressure the Bangladesh-based Weekly Blitz, which has been essentially transposting all of my stuff and most, or at least most of my stuff, most of the stuff I write, and they've put pressure on them, calling me a Russian Kremlin agent. And they've been trying to pressure the Weekly Blitz to remove specifically this article because it's very, very, unflattering for the Biden non-crime family. One of the most honest families ever. So, yeah, that's interesting. I guess that's like a litmus test of is it true or not.
We actually discussed these guys stalking you and hunting down people who mirror your stuff before, I believe.
Yep.
I might dig it up somewhere if I can and leave a link. No promises, everybody. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Russian hypersonic dominance results in hundreds of NATO casualties in Ukraine. You're lying, man. They were all like, there was an avalanche at a ski resort and they were having like a weekend away for the special forces. And then afterwards, the survivors, because they were so happy, they went on a scuba trip and like they got the nitrogen mixed and like they all had scuba diving accidents, man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I think that's exactly what happened. Actually, the interesting thing is there are several articles like this. So I think people will get, a lot of info regarding how many times did these NATO personnel choked on a croissant or, drank coffee that was too hot, and then their throats swelled, and they suffocated. And also, you mentioned,
auto asphyxiation, yeah.
Asphyxiation, yeah, because of hot coffee. That's a pretty regular occurrence, I would say. Like the skiing trips are always a problem. Falling off helicopters is always a problem. When I go sightseeing some really nice natural reserve or something. I think what I wrote here is most likely Russian propaganda, and I'm not sure if it's worth mentioning. I mean, jokes aside, this is already old news. It was in early September, and there were several strikes across Ukraine, but the most important part was hitting the Poltava area, where there's this military academy for training soldiers in electronic warfare in ISR, or intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. And there were also these guys from Sweden who were trying to train Ukrainians to use the Saab 340 AWACS or AEWC, as it's called, aircraft which serve the purpose for ISR and generally for reconnaissance.
AEWC.
Yeah.
Aerial electronic warfare. AEWC and command, yeah. And command, electronic warfare, and command, probably.
Yeah, like it actually has multiple meanings. Like in this case, it's airborne early warning and control, but you could also use it for electronic warfare. I mean, people just use the name AWACS because it was the first aircraft of that kind, and that's I mean, see, it's a lot easier to pronounce. So the point is, like, at least 100 of these guys were neutralized, and they were being trained to use the two aircraft that Sweden donated, if you will, to the Kiev regime. And of course, that didn't end very well. I mean, for them, it probably ended better than being shot down out of the sky, by Russian air defenses or jets, because the AWACS style aircraft are very big. They're very easy to detect. They're very slow, non-maneuverable. So I don't see any way how they could escape from an R-37M or R-97. Like these missiles travel at like Mach 7, Mach 8. Like you wouldn't even get the chance to, even if you detected it on launch, you wouldn't get the chance to bail out, because you wouldn't have like more than 2 minutes of life. So, I mean, whoever gets to fly in those things, wherever they are, good luck with that. You're going to need it.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna, like, when I first heard they were gonna fly those in Ukraine, I was like, come on, man, are you fucking serious? Like, they shoot it down from home base, like from spawn, like in gaming terms, like even without leaving the spawn point, like with the anti-air, you can see it. Realistically speaking, if they're flying it over NATO countries, that's a different story. But realistically, flying it over Ukraine is just like a suicide mission. Unplanned. 100%. I have this Khinzhal hypersonic air-launched ballistic missile system infographic from Sputnik, because this is a Russian propaganda comedy show. Is it? I don't know. It's comedy for sure. Did you see the frame rate in that last video? That was comedic. It was like a slideshow.
High-speed slideshow. Let's
high-speed slideshow. There you go. Khinzhal hypersonic air-launched ballistic missile system. Command centers, including those underground, air bases, air and missile defense systems. This is all proven, combat proven. Now, and like against actual, combat, not like when you're shooting Bedouins in slippers. Maximum range 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. We won't tell you exactly. Circular error probable 1 meter. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
warhead.
The Russians have really low precision. Really, I mean, if you're standing a meter to the left, you're going to survive. So,
It's like meters. It's not even in feet. It's terrible. Conventional or nuclear warheads. So just like FYI, everything that we hit so far, that you had no chance to like stop, we can hit again and give you no chance to stop with
I just want to correct people when it comes to speed. Like Mach 10, it's not its maximum speed. I've heard Mach 12 is the maximum speed, but I've seen some claims that it could go up to Mach 14, which depends on the launch platform. And the MiG-31, specifically the K and the I variant, which uses anti-satellite weapons, but because it's designed to carry heavy objects, it can actually carry the Khinzhal. So those are two different variants of the MiG-31 that can carry these things. Also, when it comes to the range, this is very speculative when they say 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers, because it also involves the range of the aircraft carrying it. The real range could be up to 1,500 kilometers. Which is quite good because you can reach almost any target in Central Europe and maybe even in Western when it comes to certain parts of Eastern France and England especially, which is particularly important for the Russian military. So and of course the nuclear weapons. Well, good luck with that. But I mean, I don't worry about NATO in Europe.
Whoa! Hold on, you're freezing again. Oh, there you go. Okay, now it's working. You're back.
I'm back.
Are you there? All right.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm not sure.
What were you saying? What were you saying? It's most important for Russia about the Khinzhal that they can reach France?
Yeah, France and the UK.
Okay. For some reason, your camera is bugging out. I'm gonna pause this recording. And by the magic of pausing a recording, we're back. Drago is mobile again. We had Drago, by the way, congratulations. Your camera now works on your laptop with the Telegram, which we're using for this video call.
Yay.
So now we have you in like full resolution, like so, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. We had a little glitch yesterday when we were flying, or tomorrow for you guys. By the way, today is the 30th of the 9th of 2024. So yeah, we were talking about Khinzhals and them being able to reach France, and it being important. Do you want to continue?
Yeah, I mean, it's important for the Russians to be able to reach at least eastern France and eastern parts of England with this thing. And the fact that it can carry nuclear warheads is also very peculiar. And I guess the French and the Brits are very, very happy about that. I mean, jokes aside, this thing, considering how fast it is, you don't want to get hit by it. Although I don't really worry about NATO because, I mean, they can shoot down 6 Khinzhals in a matter of seconds. So I guess they have nothing to worry about, right?
Of course not. Everything's gonna be fine and dandy, which is why while you were on holiday, I came across this. It was shared somewhere on Telegram. By the Map Design, I'd say this is one of those garbage English newspapers. The Sun, the Mirror, I can't remember one of them. How will NATO bring U.S. troops to Russian front line? NATO prepares for massive casualty rate in case of World War III scenario with Russia this decade. The alliance plans to activate transport network using specialized trains due to threat from Russian air defenses. NATO believes attack on NATO will start in 2029.
Wow.
Comments?
Yeah, I actually wrote about this. One of my recent articles was specifically about that. I mean,
for real, we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to it at some point. So I'm not sure if I should talk about it now or
then no. Let's go. Let's go to the next one. Turkey eyes BRICS. Is NATO the reason? No, NATO is the cause. Pan-Turkist, neo-Ottomanist NATO member Turkey in BRICS. Is it really a good idea? The Turk, he's like the Bulgarian on a global scale, with a knife in the back. Because Serbs have a joke about Bulgarians that they'll knife you in the back when they get a chance. So that's the background comedy there. Do you want to explain people why the Turks are the Bulgarians of the international community?
Yeah, they don't have knives. They use skimiters, so it's going to hurt a lot more, and it's going to make a lot more damage if you trust them. So, I mean, I understand why the Russians are trying to, maintain cordial relations with Turkey, because essentially they're not going to get, if they at least try, they're not going to get this sort of like a front line going from Norway to Azerbaijan, which is always a good thing when you don't have such a long front line with NATO. However, we shouldn't really trust the Turks, especially Erdogan. Erdogan has proven to be not a very trustworthy person. He's saying one thing today, he might say something completely different tomorrow. He's capable of going to Moscow and, embracing Putin and saying how they should be friends. And then the next day he would fly to Kiev and say Crimea is Ukraine. So, you can't really trust this guy. You can't really trust the party that he leads. You can't trust the country that he leads either, because it can change its policies at a moment's notice. And right now, the Turks and NATO, or the U.S., if you want, are negotiating about deactivating the S-400 battery, or at least several batteries, actually, up to 4, if I'm not mistaken, that Turkey bought from Russia in exchange for getting Turkey back into the F-35 program. So they're getting rid of the most capable air defense system of our age to get the best jet ever made that costs $2 trillion and doesn't really work. But I guess if that's what the Turks want, they can get it. It's really going to end well for them, just like for all other people who got the F-35.
Russian embassy in South Africa decided to go memeing. Community Notes fact-checked them. This is a U.S. Air Force F-16 that crashed in 2019. But yes, motherfucker, it's a meme. When you ask Ukrainian pilots where the F-16s are. So these are Russian government-approved memes. Like, if this is not pure Russian propaganda, I don't know what is. This is the source of pure Russian propaganda humor.
Well, I mean, who else is going to get, fact-checking for memes? If those are not Russian memes, they're never going to get fact-checked. So it's interesting.
I don't have it here, but like Musk screenshotted Ayatollah, or no, not Ayatollah. What's his name? Hezbollah's leader. Post, Nasrallah, yeah. Nasrallah's account's post after his assassination. We'll get into that either this episode or the next one as well. But the point is, Musk screenshotted the community notes on the I have to bring it up. I have to find it, but it's very not nice. It's very not nice. He was like the best community notes ever. Well, yeah, maybe. Musk is not your friend. That's all I have to say to the viewers. Let's move on from there. Oh, U.S. suicidal with China. U.S. targeting China, deploying previously banned missiles in Japan. Yeah, this guy's face says it all. I like your webmaster. Do you want to tell us what makes the Americans suicidal?
They're moving temporarily, if you want. That's what they say. They're moving these previously banned medium and intermediate range missiles to Japan. They did it previously in the Philippines, where they said they're just going to be there for a couple of months. And 6 months fast forward, they're still there, and there's no indication they will be going back anywhere. So they're pointed at China, and they have the Tomahawk missiles, or at least a land-based version of the Tomahawk missile with a range of 1,600 kilometers pointed at China. And now they're doing the same in Japan. So they're surrounding China with hostile missiles and missile systems and calling China aggressive at the same time. I guess that's how it works.
Stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. Stop it. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Stop it. From the National Meme Coordination Body of Serbia, forwarded, come on, there we go. Can we get the zoom? There we go. Nacionalno Meme Coordinaciono Telo. Success Kid turns 18. Feeling old yet?
Yeah.
Kinda. I'm not feeling old. I'm feeling just right. The truth is, I felt old since I was like 15. But that might be collateral damage. Anyway, what? You're not laughing. You're yawning. I know, but yes, cover yourself. Pretend you're laughing. Pretend you're laughing.
I'm actually coughing, and I don't want to startle everyone.
Oh, okay. So. All right. Don't worry, we can't get sick over the internet. That's a myth.
Yeah, I know.
Birds are also not real.
So suddenly.
What Austin told Zelensky at Ramstein and why the neo-Nazi junta frontman didn't like it. Dun, 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 dun. Sounds like a thriller episode. Tell us about
something like that. Austin already got a heads up from the Russians, telling him what's going to happen if they actually send all these long-range strike systems, especially the ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles. So Austin essentially told Zelensky during the Ramstein meeting. This was like the 25th, I think. Meeting
Time out. Is
of
this
the so-called Ukraine?
Is this before they bust him over in the C-130 for the UN meeting? When he made that video from inside the C-130? That's so sad.
Yeah, that was
anyway.
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was before, definitely. And Austin told him. We don't really know what he told him, but given the fact that Zelensky was very, very upset after the meeting, he probably told him, you're not going to get 100% approval from us to launch these strikes at Russia, which is why the Kiev regime then decided to start launching these drone cruise missile hybrids at Russian warehouses, essentially confirming that they should not get anything better than that, because they're going to use it to probably hit Moscow or some important part of Russia, which is going to cause nuclear war. And I think we're going to talk about it later on, how Putin essentially threatened, the guys who wanted to do that and told them what's going to happen if they do, because the Russians would know that that NATO is providing ISR and guidance support for this.
I'm here trying to look ahead at these articles and maybe combine them into segues with the videos that I've got planned, but they don't really cross over. So I'm just going to take a break from your articles, and I'm going to play some Chinese propaganda. We love our propaganda on this show. So we got some Chinese propaganda. These are drones. These are all drones. This is not CGI. I'm not going to play their music because it could be copyrighted. But yes, this is not CGI. These are drones in the air that are... So, where's the article? Did I send you the article? I think I sent you the article so that I can read the text out. No, I didn't. That was silly of me. I think it's 7,000 and something drones. Let me find that video. Here we go, and then that's gonna take forever if I scroll. That's not gonna work. But yeah, people were saying these are the civilian drones, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly this was all run off of one laptop. I don't have the narrative blurb. Oh, I do. I screenshotted it. Hold on. Pause this video. Open our pictures. Where is China drone record? There we go. Can we get it on screen so that you guys can see it? No, we can't. China set a world drone record by staging the largest drone show in history. They launched 7,598 UAVs simultaneously, all controlled from a single laptop. Back to the video. So what do you think? Like 7 laptops and they'll take over Taiwan?
Something like that, I would say. I mean, can you imagine the coordination for saturation strikes and by using just FPV drones, like nothing more advanced than an FPV drone? They could wage the most cost-effective war in human history. So, like, they wouldn't need bullets. Like, their soldiers could be completely unarmed with any sort of like personal weapon, like no assault rifles, not even like sidearms, and they could take over whatever you want. So, I mean, I see why the Pentagon is so worried about China. And I think one of the reasons why they're putting all these missiles around China is to destroy its production capacity with first strikes, because if they have to defend against this thing, it's not going to end well. Like, there's no air defense system in the world that can shoot down all of that, or at least like even half. Like, even if you get half of it, you still have like over 3,000 drones to deal with, and good luck with that.
You want to talk about weird symbolism in this like little animation that they've got here? Check this out. It's coming from space. It's shooting a laser. The laser fires out like things that are exploding. The things that are exploding cause this thing to turn into like the dove of peace and the human that turn on fire and burn and then disintegrate. So what can I say? I don't know if the Chinese are trying to send a message, but this looks like a drone carrying drone.
Yeah,
like a drone mothership that sends little drones and then makes your little city go bye-bye. I think that's what the Chinese are trying to say. Also, on the topic of drones and numbers, Serbia's military is supposedly getting something like 7,000 drones or something like that. FPV drones by the end of the year. Russia, on the other hand, for next year, is going to have 1.5 million drones. Was it with you that I discussed that? I can't remember with who. I think it might have been with you.
Yeah, I think we discussed drones on several occasions. So I guess you did the same with other guests. So it's very possible that it could have been me.
Also, this happened. Zelensky and Trump met. We got exclusive footage there. Also, this happens, apparently. Vampire drones dropping robot dogs in Ukraine. So drone warfare is reaching new heights. Oh, and we've got HD footage -1 Leo in HD at 60 frames. Optical fiber drones taking out Ukrainian tanks. They're not Germans. They are not German. They are Ukrainian. Look at that. He's got 62 frames in full HD with his fiber optic FPV chasing German. I mean, Ukrainian tank.
Ukrainian. Yeah, as I forgot his name, the Austrian colonel would say, you take off the uniform and then you put another one, Ukrainian one, and then you are not a German anymore. You are not NATO.
Yeah, Marcus Reisner. Yeah. That is his name.
Yeah, Marcus Reisner. I forgot about it. I forgot the name.
I never thought I'd be so well versed in NATO officials' names, and neither did I think that I'd be talking about Nazis so often in my life. Like, when I was like,
Yeah.
15, 16, learning about history, Nazis, I didn't think I'd still be talking about it now that I'm this old. Shh.
Yep.
Nobody knows how old I am. More FPV HD footage. I just can't believe that they get better frame rates on their drones than you and I get on my little flight simulator. You know what I mean?
I think the whole idea of these fiber optic or essentially connected drones is perfect, and there's no better way to essentially circumvent the electronic warfare systems entirely, because there is no way for the EW systems to disrupt something that's connected physically with a cable. I guess it has its downsides. I mean, you could probably like hit some power lines, or you could hit a tree or something. But still, I guess if it's an open battlefield, like is always the case in Ukraine, I guess such weapons can be extremely useful.
I muted myself. They're called Prince Vandal Novogrodsky, as in that is the name. They're called Vandal drones, but they're named after Prince Vandal Novogrodsky. Apparently. Also, if they're taking out communications equipment, as seen here on the roof, they can't be that expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they must be cost effective to be doing this. Let me find.
Yeah.
I have some pictures of a downed one here. There we go. This is what does it say here? Chochols have published the first images of a crashed Russian Vandal drone with a fiber optic cable. So there are these pictures. Let me see. I have them here. There we go. That is what that looks like for people who want to know. And there's the spool. And this is actually the fiber optic cable, if you can believe that shit.
Actually, it's more common than people think. For example, the TOW, the ATGM that was used on Humvees in the 1980s first. It's actually wire guided. So like there's a wire behind the missile when you fire it, and simply it was made in a way that you can't jam it. Like if it were laser guided, you could always like spoof it with some smoke or finding cover. But if it's wire guided, like you can't do anything unless you can cut the wire with something. And good luck, doing that, considering how fast those things are. So I think this is a good idea. Like wires are quite interesting when it comes to warfare.
Yeah, definitely. I'm having a look here, and maybe we'll save that for the end. What I've got here. Let's see what you've got. Pentagon escalates usage of commercial satellites for military purposes. It's like Stas was saying in that one talk when he translated Putin's warning of using nukes in space to American, and he said this will cost Elon Musk a lot of money. Basically. That sounds like what the US is getting at here. Why don't you tell us, Drago?
Well, in this case, like it actually goes beyond Musk. Because what the U.S. military wants, it wants access to all sorts of commercial satellites, and I'm not talking just American. Like it's across the board. Like any sort of commercial satellite should be available to the U.S. military. That's what they argue. At least they want weather satellites. They want all sorts of like essentially peaceful purposes satellites to be used for military surveillance. So essentially, they keep whining that Russia is, like militarizing space and that China is doing the same. But at the same time, they want to hijack all civilian space-based assets to use them for military purposes. So if you seize a vehicle for military purposes, I mean, a previously civilian vehicle, then it becomes a military vehicle, and it's essentially legal to destroy it according to international law. So I guess this applies the same to commercial satellites. If you're using them to spy on someone, those are not commercial satellites anymore. So if someone is going to militarize space, it's definitely the United States.
No comment. This could get interesting. I'm looking here through all the stuff. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to flash up here. It's not a meme. I'm sorry to disappoint you people, but it is still funny because the drone wars have gotten ever more serious, and the Russian sense of humor in naming things is uncanny. The Courier unmanned ground vehicles are ready for delivery. So the couriers are ready. We've been going for 50 minutes. I'm going to call it a talk. We'll be right back after these messages. No, there's no messages. It's just like a pause and then the end. And then tomorrow you can get the next one. Or if you find this video later, the other upload might be there already, right? Drago, anything you'd like to say as we take this recording out?
Yeah, I mean, the UGVs are just perfect. I mean, those are the best ground-based drones, and I really hope, that the Russians and also our military, the Serbian military, gets it because, you can save lives with it because you don't have to send guys in tanks and BMPs, which can get blown to pieces. So UGVs are always a better alternative.
We'll get into ground drones, Serbia and China relations, and other little details that we've got loaded here very soon. Everybody who stuck around to the end, thank you, supporters. Thank you to Drago. Thank you for making the time and having the patience. And everybody else, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.